Hey guys, Sundan Rider here. This is gonna be my chapter review to My Hero Academia or Boku no Hero Academia 150, Mirio Togata. Now this chapter I really enjoyed. It was such a good chapter. It was now I really like Mirio Togata as a character because we know from his past he's overcome so many different types of adversity in terms of he couldn't control his quirk. It was such a weird quirk and he couldn't really control it. He was a weak character, and then through through his constant acknowledgement of his own weaknesses, like this is what I can't do, this is what I can't do, this is what I need to improve on. I know I'm weak in this situation, so how can I improve? Through all of that, he's overcome everything about his quirk, and he's learned to be better as a person and as a hero because of his own ideologies and his acknowledgement of his weaknesses. And that's what makes Mirio Togata such a likable character, apart from the fact that he's drawn slightly differently to everyone else. So I really like Mirio, and this chapter kind of shows exactly who Mirio is at the core, and how he's got such a solid will, and he's just very focused on who he is, and acknowledges exactly what's wrong with him, and he knows that he's going to have weaknesses, but he's willing to overcome that. So I like that about Mirio. Let's go through the chapter though. So we know Mirio confronts Overhaul and company. We see that Overhaul straight away. He starts poking at the sore areas for Mirio. He's like, "Oh, last time I saw you, you turned a blind eye to Eri, and you're not really a hero in her eyes anymore." So first he's saying you turn a blind eye, so you're not really a hero in that sense. But also the person you're saving doesn't want to be saved by you, because in their eyes you've lost any value. You've lost all value. So they're psychologically attacking Mirio all the way throughout this chapter. And then we get Deidoro Sakaki, who his quirk is known as Dead Drunk. Okay, now it robs you of your sense of equilibrium, it robs you of your sense of balance. So we see Mirio in this chapter, he's staggering, he can't really stand up straight, and that's because of his loss of his sense of equilibrium. All the fluid in his ears has gone apeshit. And then we see Shin Nemuto. Now I mentioned him a couple chapters ago. I think I mentioned him either last chapter or the chapter. Yeah, it must have been 2 chapters ago or the last chapter. I said there was a guy in Overhaul's company who can make you spit out the truth, and it turns out Shin Nemuto, his quirk, it's called spitting the truth, and it makes you answer any of his questions which he asks you with your true feelings. You answer them with your true feelings. So he's a truth inducer. So one of them's a vertigo inducer, and one of them's a truth inducer. So Shin Nemuto seems to be also, he makes mention of this in this chapter. He seems to be the only one who actually knows Overhaul's plans. He addresses him as the young master, as I think the rest of them do as well, but he knows Overhaul's plans, so he must be quite an important piece for Overhaul in his general ideas, in his general plan, in his general going forward of things. So like I said before, I love the interrogation part of this chapter, the kind of psychologically attacking Mirio, and they were draining his will mentally, and well, they were draining his will physically because he couldn't move very well because of Deidoro Sakaki, the dead drunk guy, and they were draining him emotionally as well. They were killing his heart off basically by saying, when he was asked, you overlooked the Eri incident, and you kind of left her to go back to hell basically, and he was like, yeah, that's right, I did. And then he's just looking at, like, you can see he's looking in on himself. He's kind of taking reflecting on himself, like, really, did I actually let Eri go back? Was it because of me that she went back to that basically hell house? So they're attacking him physically, mentally, every which way you can go. And then he was also said, it was asked of him, you're not saving Eri because you wanted to save her. You want to save her to cover up kind of the guilt that you're feeling of not having done anything before. I.e., you're not doing this for Eri, you're doing this for yourself. That's not a very heroic quality. So once again, they're attacking him emotionally, and they're attacking his heart, they're attacking his will. So then, with his body gone and his heart in pieces, seemingly, they attack Mirio, both Nemuto and Sakaki. And then we see an attack which is named after a Star Wars movie. If any of you guys didn't get that, you need to watch Star Wars like real quick. We get the killing move, Phantom Menace. So that was a really good move. I think he just zips through walls and he just takes out both Nemuto and Sakaki at the same time. And also, a little point I'd like to make is Sakaki is a drunkard in here, which is pretty funny because, you know, he robs you of your balance. It's kind of the quirk matches his own personality. But also Sakaki's the guy who likes alcohol, and he drinks a lot of alcohol. The 100th Dan brawler in History's Strongest Disciple, Kenichi. So the fact that they're both drunkards, I was like, that's pretty funny. But yeah, so that's just a little tidbit. So then we get why Mirio wasn't really affected by both the mental attacks and the physical attack. And the reason is Mirio is well aware of his own weaknesses, and as is shown by his history of failures, which we've already addressed, and his history of failure and his inability to control his quirk initially, he accepts the fact that he has all these weaknesses, and his quirk has its own quirks. But his solidarity knows no bounds. He accepts everything about himself, and he's just willing to overcome all of his weaknesses, and he's willing to accept that if they are there, they're a given. I have weaknesses because I'm only human, but I will overcome them. So he attacks and he beats both Sakaki and Nemuto, and really the whole chapter seemed to have this undertone of it was Mirio kind of dealing with his guilt and his kind of regret of not having done anything for Eri in the first place. And we already know both Izuku and Mirio were feeling an immense amount of regret because they hadn't done anything in the first place. But they both probably could have saved Eri right then and there, but Eri was pulled back by Overhaul's bloodlust, and she knew that if she went with them, they both probably, Izuku and Mirio both would have probably died. So it's kind of Eri as well trying to save them too. Like, shit, they probably don't know his powers and everything, so they'd get wrecked if she did go with them. So it was kind of, Eri was trying to save the both of them. They were both trying to save her, but they didn't want to fail the mission. They were just on a recon mission. So it was all of this guilt was kind of placed on Mirio, and he was like, "Yo, I got to do this now for Eri." So like I said, he then attacks Overhaul and the other expendable precept. That was a weird thing. They call them expendables now. I didn't know that was a thing. In the other chapters I've read before, they were called the 8 precepts. But expendables is cool too. And his attack scene against Overhaul and the other precept was really cool. He attacks, I think Overhaul's name is Kisaki or Chisaki, and obviously Overhaul dodges. That also shows a little bit of his martial arts prowess, his fighting prowess. The fact that he dodged Mirio, even having not really seen Mirio pop up, he's just like, his senses are really sharp. I mean, the other precept guy gets hit. And the cool part of this was Mirio phases his foot through Eri as he's kicking the precept guy, and then he just reestablishes his foot's solidarity or kind of presence and mass as it hits the guy. So it phases through Eri and it hits the guy. So that was really good awareness by Mirio, and it shows the control of his quirk, and once again how much he's had to go through just to master this quirk. And we see also that he can make parts of his body intangible and tangible without making his whole body intangible. So he can make like his fist tangible, but the rest of his body will be intangible. So we already knew that because he could phase through walls and stuff. That wasn't really anything new, but just a reminder. So he then tells Eri, "I will be your hero," like the song. So there's death flags all over this place, all over the shop really. But I don't want Mirio to die. I really like him as a character. Like I said, what he symbolizes is we already know that he's kind of the successor, he's kind of the successor to All Might in the sense that he's the most capable hero at this moment in time. And even professional heroes look to him as like, yo, you're really, really capable. And his personality matches that of All Might's in the sense of, I'll overcome everything and anything, even if these things are directly my weakness. There's something I can't go against. I'm disadvantaged in this situation. I will attack, and I will make it out on top. So he has that same All Might qualities, those same All Might qualities, as opposed to someone like Endeavor, who's a really cold person. He's a really volatile person, and he's not really very heroic. He was just in it kind of to have a rival like All Might and to try and beat All Might. And when now All Might's out the game, he's kind of useless. So Mirio kind of possesses the heroic qualities, and he's trained himself to possess heroic functions as well in his ability to control his quirk. But I don't want Mirio to die. His fight against Overhaul it's been teased for the last couple chapters, because he's been going after Overhaul, and in the first chapter of this whole raid thing, he was the one that phased through the walls, and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna go straight after Overhaul, I'm gonna try and slow him down. But we don't know the extent of Overhaul's powers. Can he deconstruct and reconstruct just things he touches? Does he have to touch them, or can he reconstruct something within a space? Does he not have to touch them? Can he just see like, yeah, this is the area I want to deconstruct? So if he can, Mirio is going to be at a real big disadvantage, because his intangibility won't have any effect on Overhaul. But I think Overhaul has to touch something, because that's how everything's gone so far. He slammed his fist against something and then it's deconstructed real quick. But I'm still thinking that Mirio won't get out of this without he won't get out of this unscathed. Something has got to happen to him. Maybe he might be maimed, lose a limb or something like that. But he does have Eri on him, and once it's a shonen, so you got to remember that he is protecting Eri. So hopefully everything goes right for him. But I don't think he's gonna make it out of there without losing something. And he's meant to be kind of like the next in line, All Might, before like Izuku comes and masses his one for all. But there's only going to be one guy who's going to be number one in the end. So something might happen here for that'll take Mirio out of the race or something. Like he can't continue as a hero. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with Mirio, but I really, really like him as a hero and as a character. So let's see what happens next chapter. I really enjoyed this chapter. It was I'm going to give this a solid 9, actually. 9 out of 10. It was a really good chapter. Death Flags at the end. Mirio showing his balls. And the Phantom Menace move was a nice callback to Star Wars. So, all good. And I really liked the interrogation part and the whole undertone of regret and guilt and everything like that. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I will see you guys with Nanatsu no Taizai on Saturday or Sunday. So I'll see you guys then.